Pete.
Good evening, you join me on the 1748 train to Madrid. It is July the 30th and it's a wonderful evening to be spending a month in Europe by yourself. Specifically travelling this route you can see illustrated here on this very geographically accurate map. A daunting prospect, I know. But how'd you do it, I hear you ask? Well, now that I've done one solo trip, I'm an expert on the matter. So I'll be sharing a couple tips in this video to help you guys if you want to do something similar. First, starting off with accommodation. Now, unless you're a billionaire, hostels are the name of the game. And I'm at the end of the trip now. Here are some things I find are vital for good hostel accommodation. Number one, a privacy curtain on the bed. Little thing which can make sure you have some precious alone time, which can be hard to come by in some hostels. 2, secure luggage storage. Not just for when you're there, but for check-in and check-out days, so you're not having to lug everything around in those days when you're not actually booked into the hostel. 3, hostel activities. This is just a great way to meet other solo travelers and socialize, and then you can end up making mates which you can go out on day trips for later on. And lastly, and most vitally, I'd say, hostel kitchen. And that brings us on to our second essential category, food. Now, disclaimer, I'm not the fastest of eaters. Case in point, I cooked and ate the same dinner for 3 years of university, so grain of salt, that's not why I ate, I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt. Now, you want to start off your day, get yourself to a supermarket, get yourself in that breakfast aisle, and look for any multi-pack of pain au chocolats, croissants, whatever, and you look for about 800 calories, get yourself to a park and scoff that down you. Also pick up some bananas, great way of just making sure you're never actually starving throughout the day. Lunch, again, I'd either pick up a supermarket sandwich / baguette or have your leftovers from dinner, which for me is why a hostel kitchen is so vital. I would just get some fresh pasta, pesto, and whatever meat, veg, fish suits your fancy. Cook that all up in the kitchen and then take whatever's left over for your lunch the next day. But to do that requires some forward thinking about the next essential, which is packing. That's packing, not packing. Now these bags are as they were when I stepped off the plane a couple of days ago, and in a few moments they're going to unpack themselves and sort their contents into 3 categories, because everything I packed kind of had a justification. You've got the essentials, things that I needed but you may not, and things that I didn't need but you might. And I know what you're thinking, did he just say they're going to unpack themselves? That's impossible! Well, you're not just wrong, you're stupid. Cue the movie magic. Right, so easy access is the name of the game. So you want to put your clothes on top and then compartmentalise everything else. I'm talking a photography bag. I'm talking a bag for your laptop and charger. I'm talking a bag for your medicines. I'm talking a bag for your electronics. And I'm even talking about a miscellaneous bag. Now, on the side pockets, I like to put my boxes and socks and then the waterproof covers because you don't want to be going through your bag in the rain. Now, in terms of categorising these items, I could go individually, but we'll be here all day, so enjoy this rapid-fire slideshow. Now, I wouldn't blame you for that faff of packing has got you wondering, why would anyone do this? Great question. Long story short, did I just butcher that? That was supposed to be hello Bulgaria. But anyway, you join me here on my second day of interrailing in beautiful Bulgaria, birthplace of the Cyrillic alphabet. Here in Sofia, in front of the St. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. Not bad, is it? So this is the first 28 hours or so of interrailing. I mean, if I'm honest, I guess because of all the planning and getting here was such an undertaking, I was expected to kind of hit the ground running, adventures abound. But that's not the case, Copernicus, Stuff doesn't just happen to you, you've got to get out there. So here I am, out here. But to be honest, the fact that I'm a British Pakistani, about to eat a lovely French pastry in that bag behind the camera, in front of the second biggest cathedral in the Balkans, dawns on me, I really can't complain, So who knows where I'll be in a month's time. Well, in Portugal, but do you know what I mean, like, as a person. But yeah, I'm excited to find out. Alright, next tip.
maybe don't always trust the weather app and people you meet on trails, because both of them have said it's going to rain. Get a jog on. But you can see that peak there is where I'm going. Blue skies up above it. So, you know, sometimes it just pays to go against the grain. Do you know what I mean? What could go wrong?
It is pissing it down. Maybe do listen to the weather apps, because I've been stuck up here for an hour now in this shelter. At least I have that, and I don't think I'm making the last bus back.
Or so he thought, because 5 minutes after that clip, the rain began to subside. So much so, I decided to take this lovely little time lapse to capture that perfect moment. The rain clouds would pass by overhead and Mr. Blue Sky would come and say hello. But not for long, because if you look centre left here, you'll start to see wisps appear, and they have friends, and they're so excited to meet you, they're going to climb a mountain face to do so. And what's that? Oh, you're in a cloud now, and you can't see 5 metres ahead of you. This is it, ladies and gentlemen, the exact moment I wished I packed more underwear, where I'd come first hand, face to face with the wrath of Mother Nature. Oh well, better get used to it. This is life now, isn't it? But not for long.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Yeah, I thought I'm gonna make that last bus, so I started walking while it was raining, and just as I left, stopped raining. Never actually made it to the peak, which is a bit peak. Not gonna risk it, and I'm gonna try and get back before another thunderstorm comes.
And make that last bus. I did. So, all's well that ends well, happily ever after. But not for long, because that 5-minute rainwalk had already done its damage, because 3 hours later, when I was finally able to get my socks off, I discovered my 2 pinky toes had now turned into blisters, which is why in this next clip you can see I'm actually limping on both feet. Back to you in the studio. But there's no studio, I'm going crazy in this room. Okay, alright.
Welcome to Bucharest. Now, this impressive building behind me is the Romanian Palace of the Parliament. It was built over the course of 13 years across the 80s and the 90s to the tune of 4 billion euros. Its construction was led by 35-year-old Anca Petrescu, a woman who had won the design tender, mainly because of how big she made it. Now, its volume exceeds that of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The material required includes 1 million meter cubed of marble, 700,000 tons of steel, 480 chandeliers, and 3,500 meters squared of caskins. The building is so large, only 400 of the 1,100 rooms are used. All of this gives it a weight of 4.1 million tons, causing it to sink half a centimeter each year. All of this, and still, it isn't as heavy as your mother. Do try and keep your hobbies going, you know, especially if you've gone for a month or more. You can find yourself getting a bit touristed out, in which case it's just good to break things up. You know, for me, it was things like going to the gym in different cities, or, you know, hiring a bike and exploring the cities on 2 wheels, or even just shooting film photography. Although if you shoot film, do make sure your camera's properly loaded, else you'll wake up one morning like I did today, only to discover that your first week's worth of photos will never materialize, prompting a reaction a bit like this.
I was happy in the haze of a drunken hour, but heaven knows I'm miserable now. I was looking for a job and then I found a job, and heaven knows I'm miserable now in my...
True story. And on that note, travelling isn't going to be when you pick up that hobby you've always been wanting to get around to, as well intentioned as you may be. Case in point, I picked up this book on my first day, and it's now 35 days later and I'm on page 28. What? It didn't have pictures in, alright? Now, if you excuse me, I've got some reading to do. Join me in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. And as anyone who's been to Budapest will tell you, it's actually two different places, Buda and Pest, separated by the river Danube. And yeah, I've clambered my way to the top of the Hungarian Statue of Liberty, which is ironically closed at the moment. I'm stood on the Old Town Buda. It's the Old Town because it's on the hill, so it survived all the floodings of the Danube over the centuries. Looking across the new town, Pest, and I don't know if it's my lack of hydration, how tired I am, or whatever, but it just seems like every single street lamp, bridge light, car light is just twinkling, and it's gorgeous. There's no other word for it. This is amazing. Hello and welcome to Austria, home of Mozart and He Who Must Not Be Named. Specifically Vienna, because of course where else would it be? A third of the country lives here. So good news, the city is great. I mean, public transport works a treat, very London Underground vibes. There's cool refreshing water fountains everywhere, and I'm even starting to see more people of colour, which is always reassuring, strength in numbers and that. But, I mean, for one, everywhere outside of supermarkets is so damn expensive. It's like the concept of a student discount is completely foreign here. And even all the public toilets cost 50 cents to use, which is just heartbreaking because I don't know how else I'm going to be able to go to the toilet. It's... And on top of that, there's only so many, granted beautiful, Gothic churches I can see before they all start to blend into one. I mean, of course there's exceptions to all this. I'm doing all this whining from the completely free gardens of Schönbrunn Palace, which are lovely, and the view from on top of this hill is spectacularly reminiscent of the one you get in London from the Royal Observatory. That being said, I don't know, I feel like as I'm reaching the 1/3 mark of this trip, I kind of just need a break from all these city days I've been doing. Basically, I'm saying I just need to get into nature. Wait, hang on, this is a bit of view, isn't it? We'll fix that. Some view this is, isn't it? So what happened? Well, I hiked these luscious Alpesque mountains for almost 2 hours, battling the blazing sun, bolstered by a promise of a beautiful view. I reached this, the highest point in Vienna, only to be greeted with green. You see, rather than trim the trees, the Austrians built that viewpoint. As I approached this tower, my heart sank, as I saw entry €1. Of course, in Vienna, you even need to pay for a view. But the kicker? Cash only. I didn't bring my wallet. Naive? Maybe. I walked to the desk, hoping that the handlebarred, mustached man guarding the tower would sympathize. This man, let's call him Kunst, did not. But I've come so far. The Kunst shrugged. Bank transfer? Cash only, the Kunst replied. I pled and reasoned, but the Kunst merely admonished the arrogance of us Northern Europeans, expecting cash machines everywhere we went. You're mistaken, Mr. Kunst. I just didn't think the views would come with a price. He said this was only a summertime hobby for him, but yet compromise Kunst did not. All is not lost though. Kunst cannot take back the lovely trek I had here. And above all, Kunst cannot paywall the blue sky above. And my boy, there are eagles flying overhead. So to cool down from the hike, I decided to go for a swim in the River Danube. Not a sentence you say every day, unless you're Viennese. And before I went in the water, I put my hostel key card in my bag. And as I was leaving, I kind of turned my bag inside out to try and find it again. And look what I found. €2. I could have paid for the thing twice. Mother.
Sometimes the best train isn't a train. It's a train with four wheels that goes on the road with a chain smoker driver. It's a coach. I'm talking about coach. Sometimes it just works out cheaper, quicker, whatever. But let it be known that 2/3 of the coaches I've got so far have been quite late. So plan accordingly.
I'm an NO from Birmingham, and I'm in Venice, so you'd think I'd say it, but I'm not going to say it. I mean, sure, their canals are more beautiful. Do you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I know we're in Venice, but I'm not going to say it. I know the canals are right there, but I'm not going to say it. Oh, fish, you don't get those in Birmingham. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Did you guys know that Birmingham actually has more?
Ho sbagliato tante volte ormai che lo so già. E oggi quasi certamente sto sbagliando su di te. Ma una volta in più che cosa...
Allora, you join me in Milan. Indoors. Why is that? Why am I not coming to you from the rooftops of the Duomo Cathedral or the lovely shoreline of Lake Como? Well, it's because 10 minutes ago I just finished my education. Tied it all up in a nice bow. Nursery, primary school, secondary school, undergraduate and postgraduate. I just had to give a presentation and viva on my master's research report. It fell on today, couldn't change it. I wasn't going to abandon this trip because of it. So I decided to get an Airbnb to make sure I had a stable internet connection and peace and quiet in which to finish education. It sounds so weird to say, but I think it also goes some way to explain the why of this all. Because in less than a month, I start working. I start the 9 to 5, or in my case 6, 7, 8 rat race, and that's it for 40 years. So I thought last summer holidays, let's do something with it. And I have. I'm halfway through and this has easily been one of the best experiences of my life. And I only hope it's going to get better next week when I get mine.
results. Yeah, this is a much more typical hostelry than the one you saw me in Milan. I'm just gonna do it. I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a bit shaky.
Mate, this train station is nice. Tell you what, mate, this view is nice.
Mate, these streets are nice.
Oh, mate, look how nice our waterfall is. I tell you what, mate, this whole city is nice. What's that? Huh? Oh, it's pronounced Nice. Welcome to Monaco, the city, country, region, whatever, where cash is king, which is a fitting place for the next tip, which is when interrailing, actually card is king, like one of these Monzo ones or Revolut. It just saves you on all the exchange things you get charged for buying stuff in different countries. Don't be like me, don't be an idiot when you start off trying to do it all in the local currencies, because you end up with about 100 different coins that are now worthless. Bonjour, you join me in Montpellier, France, on top of this windy hill. So I don't know how much of this you're hearing. It's also quite loud because this town is refreshingly walkable, but also so French. I mean, the kids think they're cooler than you, the people think they're better than you. Even the pigeons walk around with a certain je ne sais quoi, and it's sunset here. This marks the last kind of 2/3 point of the trip, which is a sobering thought. You know, over 70% gone just like that. So kind of just trying my hardest to be as present as possible. Easier said than done, but made a lot more easier when you're in a place like this, where you've got people skateboarding, longboarding, roller skating, breakdancing, normal dancing, everything. It's the French. I'll miss this as well.
En mourir quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose.
Hola, you join me on my descent down from Mount Tibidabo in Barcelona. Sorry, that's just how us locals pronounce it. Where you get an amazing view of the city, free of charge. You hear that, Vienna? Now, it is overcast, but all that means is you get these lovely little sunny spots on the city, which I don't know if the phone picks up, but I know the camera does, so just, that helps. I mean, look at that. Please tell me you are looking at something, because if I've lost another roll of film, I swear I'm joking. I'm not. I'm really not. Now, I do have a confession to make, which is that on this journey of grand new cities and experiences, I've been to Barca before, twice. So why third time? Well, it means I've done all the tourist traps before, and it means it's the first city where I don't have that urgency and I can actually relax, which, given that, you know, today's my last Thursday, tomorrow's my last Friday, the day after that's my last Saturday, the day after that, yeah, that's my last Sunday, and the day after that would be my last Monday, the day after that I think is my last Tuesday, and then yeah, the day after that one would be my last day. So at this point in the trip, it's just really nice to be able to fully relax. That's not to say it's all been old experiences. I've done new stuff. I went to the Picasso Museum, and I'll be honest, I was never really sold on the guy, but it turns out he knew what he was doing, which is just a testament to why you should never write off art galleries. And on that note, enjoy this nice little montage of all the galleries I've been to on this trip. Brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it? AI could never do that. It could never do that, yeah. So I've got 3 golden rules of travelling. Number 1, never pass up on a free public restroom. Even if you don't need it, you never know when you're going to get the next one. Number 2, never pass up on a free public water fountain. Even if you're not thirsty, your body still does need water. And number 3, never get the two confused. Cheers. Right, the next stop after Barcelona was meant to be Madrid, but the more astute of you will be hearing waves at the moment, and you'll realise Madrid is a landlocked city. So what's happened is, I took a little 7-hour detour consisting of a train, and another train, and then a coach, and then a taxi, to gate crash this man's family home. So we're now currently in Marbella, doing, what are we doing, Jack? How do you describe it?
I mean, you used to look up relaxing in a dictionary. This holiday would be after that word.
Just really going all out on the relaxing front. I think the most exciting we've done is 100 rally on Whitwaff, and to be honest, I ain't complaining. Hala Madrid. Now, because of the lovely Marbella detour courtesy of the Priors, I'm only here for 2 hours before I'm going on to Porto, so there's not even that much I can do.
Hello, you join me here in Porto. It's my 2nd day here and the last day of my Interrailing in total, which is why I want to spend it relaxing, doing this museum of contemporary arts and then next to beach. But it also meant that yesterday I wanted to fit in all of the sightseeing. I'm talking 3 churches, 2 towers, 2 bridges, a library and 2 parks, which in theory, good idea. In practice, in the Portuguese heat, coming off of maybe 3 hours of not so great quality sleep thanks to the bus on the way here, meant that I finished today violently thrown up in the hostel toilets, which is probably a good idea for the next tip, and that is, you're never going to see everything in a city, so just prioritize. Don't try and fit it all in one day, otherwise you'll pay the consequences. So with that said, I'm off to enjoy the last day of Interrailing. I'll speak to you guys on the beach. So this is it. After having started off a month ago in Bulgaria, over 1,600 miles away, that is the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, yeah, I would have liked for better weather for this final speech, but it'll do. So, is it worth it, solo travelling? Well, it ain't perfect. I mean, I've had a lot of stressful situations on this trip. Almost getting stranded on a mountain in Bulgaria, almost getting stranded in Lake Como. I've got to stop doing that, actually. And the amount of people who lack basic social and spatial awareness, it's a daily source of frustration. And if you're expecting travelling to completely redefine you as a person and solve all your problems, it won't. Getting out of the country for 1 month just won't do that. You're still you. I mean, case in point, you might have noticed that despite me having met so many amazing people and spending entire days with them, I've been the only one on camera. And that's because, I don't know, I've always had this weird self-consciousness about bringing out my phone and being that guy taking videos for his YouTube. It's stupid, I know, but it's still something I need to work on. And to you guys, sorry for your lack of inclusions. Please forgive me. But that's not to say I haven't grown. I mean, the solo aspect is great for that. All that time you get to self-reflect and develop self-awareness. And the independence to get up when you want, do or not do what you want, relax when you want, go all out when you want is unrivaled. And I mean, it's true what they say about travelling, all of it. It's great for the soul. I mean, just to be out here, all of it shimmeringly new. The people, the places, the experiences, the culture. I mean, I've had so many pinch yourself moments on this trip
which have all accumulated to making it easily one of the great experiences of my life. And it's helped me make peace with saying goodbye to my adolescence. I mean, would I have liked longer? Yes. But it's time. And on the bright side, I've got a great job waiting for me in the adult world. And on that note, am I looking forward to going home? Well, one night between trains I had some time to kill, so I just sat by the arrivals and watched as all manner of people came back home from who knows where. And you could see them wearing their fatigue on their faces, crushed on their rucksacks. But it all drained from them when they saw the people they loved waiting for them, and they would squeal, skip and jump into their arms, regaling grand tales of where they'd been. They were home. So yes, that's my way of saying yes, I am. But again, that's not to say I haven't loved this experience. I see no qualms in those two statements coexisting. I guess my closing remark would be this. Do it. Whatever it is, put yourself in that situation that puts stones in your throat, because that's the anxiety of freedom. I mean, there's always a million reasons not to do something, but pursue whatever it is that sets your soul alight, because we get so little truly free time on this world that I think it's a damn shame not to spend it doing something creatively beautiful. And on that note, I'm going to go jump into the Atlantic Ocean. Thanks for watching. Hell, that was freezing. Oh, but I'm glad I did it.